Good morning on this bright and sunny bank holiday Monday morning here in the UK. I hope you are well and that if you are joining me, you've managed a bit of a lay-in. And now we're ready for a little bit of crafting before we carry on to do our other, whatever it is we've got planned for this bank holiday Monday. I know for some of you, if you're joining us from elsewhere in the world, morning Charlotte, if you're joining us from elsewhere in the world, it may not be a bank holiday Monday, it may be a normal working day for you, so sorry, but we always have this last August Monday as a bank holiday here in the UK. So, and for a change, the sun is shining, it's very warm. In fact, I think it's going to get very, very warm by this afternoon, and we'll no doubt be complaining it's too hot. Evening Wendy, because we're British and we always complain about the weather. It's our thing, it's what we do, it's a national pastime. So our product of the week this week, we're going to be looking at the stunningly beautiful Perennial Essence Suite. It's a really lovely little suite, and the thing that actually, the creme de la creme of this suite is actually the DSP, which is stunning. Chrissy, hi! Yes, I'm a couple of hours later today. Because it is a bank holiday Monday, I thought we don't really want to be up and about at 8 o'clock in the morning on a bank holiday Monday. Let's make it 10 o'clock on a bank holiday Monday. So that's why I'm a bit later today. So the Perennial Essence Suite, it consists of, you can see the beautiful images and things there. We'll come back to those in a minute. But it actually consists of a stamp set, this floral essence stamp set. And the pictures on the stamp set actually perhaps don't do justice to the images you get when you actually stamp it. It is really beautiful. These solid flowers here, absolutely stunning. This one's brilliant for colouring in with your blends or watercolouring or watercolour pencils, whatever it is you fancy using. This little leaf here matches the leaf punch that we've had in the catalogue for a little while. And then this flower here actually coordinates with a punch that I'll show you in a minute, which means that you can punch those out and build up some really lovely 3D flowers. You've got these centres, and these centres are very clever. So this centre matches that flower, and this centre that looks like it's had a little bit nibbled out of it matches that flower. Hi Karen. And this centre here looks like a fan, matches that flower. So you've got the three centres to match exactly those three different flowers, so that's all lovely. And then you've got this leaf image just here, some really nice little sentiments in a beautiful font. You've got some stems going on here, some smaller leaves. So all in all, it builds to make a really beautiful floral stamp set. And as I said, you've got a punch that coordinates with it. Looks like a propeller, an aeroplane propeller, and I'm sure that possibly you could use it as such if you so wished. But this punch pinches out this stamped flower image. As I say, then you can build that up to make some lovely 3D flowers. But the papers are just absolutely stunning. They're very sort of Monet Impressionist artist inspired, and as the week goes on, I have got a post scheduled to go up on my Facebook page that tells you a little bit of the story behind the paper. I always find the stories behind the paper absolutely fascinating, and it is sort of the fact that we have these fabulous designers that are creating these beautiful top quality products. That's what makes things like companies like Stampin' Up so special and to be so valued. So we have these beautiful papers, so they are as always double-sided, so you've got these lovely sort of roses on this side, and on this other side you've got sort of almost like this watery wash background. Just gorgeous. The colours in it are stunning. You know, that sort of almost echoes that one, doesn't it, with these flowers here. And then these are in sort of pinks and yellows, the petal pink, as is this one. That one's almost sort of like there is little flowers in it, but looking from a distance, it's almost like a sort of night sky sunset. There's a beautiful one there. Look at that gorgeous green. Isn't that lovely? Doesn't that make a fabulous background for your cards? This lovely paper here, almost water lily-ish, water's on the water. A really nice petal pink background there. So they work, you know, the background ones really work well in coordination with the other papers. That's really quite a nice springtime image, isn't it? Those sort of little daisies and things. And then this is beautiful. And there is, I'll show you in a minute, a frame in the catalogue with this as a background paper, which is really beautiful. So those are the papers. So we've got the stamp set and the punch. We've got the papers. I'll put the papers to one side for a minute. We also get vellum. Now you can tell when a product is really good and really useful when I come to show it, and actually I'm just digging out little scraps of this because I need to order some more. Now you do actually get in the pack 12 by 12 sheets of this coloured vellum in these three colours. So you've got this old olive, you've got the petal pink, and you've got the so saffron. So you've got those three colours. You get 12 sheets of 12 by 12, so you get 4 of each colour. Doing the quick maths in the top of my head then, 12 divided by 3 equals. So you get 4 sheets of each. This is all I've got left with these odd little scraps. I've got a few other little scraps, but not much more. Beautiful for making. You can see that this was a starts of an envelope at some point that I've then cut up because I've needed it for something else. So it makes fabulous envelopes and wraps. So great for packaging as well, for just adding little elements of things, punching out leaves out of this vellum and flowers, and just really beautiful. So the vellum is gorgeous, and I need to add that to my order this week. This ribbon is stunning. So it is a petal pink ribbon, and it's sort of got this stripe going through it, a petal pink organza ribbon. Really lovely, really delicate. And then these are fun little things. These are the furry flower centres. So they are quite furry. They are really quite realistic. Almost look as if they're covered in pollen, waiting for the bees to come along and share it. So those are the little floral centres. So a really fun little suite of products. Really gorgeous suite of products. And as you can see, hi Emma, make up some really lovely cards and packaging and all sorts of things. So if we have a quick look at some of these things here, so these are all frames. These three are just those papers framed. I mean, why wouldn't you just simply put into a frame? This one is that sort of greeny background paper look, where they've added lots of flowers created from the vellum on the top, just built up, really beautiful. You've got a box here that's been decorated, the tag, it's got flowers on. This card here, I must dig it out. I've done a similar one to that for when I did the county tour a couple of months ago, and we did casing the catalogue. We did a card a bit like that. It's this beautiful card here. This is the one we're going to case in a minute, although I have to say the colours in real life come out a little bit different than they do in that catalogue. Here's sort of like a nice memory album as well. Look, with a pocket created out of vellum, tags in it. Really beautiful, some really beautiful things that you can create with this kit. As I say, the card that we're going to case is this one. But when you start looking at the ingredients for the card, the colours perhaps aren't going to look quite like that. But let's see how we go. Okay, so where's my little basket of goodies? Down here. Now it is very warm today. For us here in the UK. Hi Denise. I've got a cup of tea, I've got a glass of water. If there is any background noise, I do apologise. I've got my little fan going rather than the big one. I just thought I'm going to need something. I have got my door open, my back door open, and there is someone working in their garden doing a bit of hammering and things somewhere. So you might get this gentle background noise of a bank holiday Monday and people sort of pottering in their gardens and doing things. But I think if I was to shut the door, it would all suddenly go very quiet because I'd be on the floor, which is not a good thing. Okay, let's dig out the things that I've got. in my basket. Sorry, my fan has just decided it's going to lean itself up against the window and vibrate madly. So let's pick out of the basket all the little bits that I've gathered together, ready to create our card. Right, so we're going to start with, and this is where you'll see that the colours vary greatly from the one in the catalogue, Pretty Peacock. So we've got a Pretty Peacock card base. Lovely colour, really love this colour. And we've cut some of that paper. So this is a piece of the designer series paper, sort of the water lily type effect one. So your card base is now 14.9 by 10.5, where you've scored it in half. So this piece of paper here is actually 13.9 by 9.5. So I've cut it a centimetre smaller on each side to give a bit more of a border around the outside there. And I've also cut a strip of this green paper, and that is measuring 2 centimetres wide by 13.9 centimetres long. Now because I only have the list of ingredients and the picture, it is sometimes quite difficult to see what they have used in. So they may not have used this paper, they may have used just a piece of cardstock, they may have used a piece of vellum, I think perhaps it's a piece of cardstock, but I quite like that paper, so we're going to go with that. And the other thing that it lists in the list of ingredients that they've used to make their card is the Subtles textured impression folder. Not entirely sure what they have embossed, but we're going to go for quite a bit. I was having a discussion with a customer last week about this Subtles textured impression folder, because it is very subtle. You do get a very subtle result with it, but it is stunning. And I think she'd only seen it in the catalogue before. She'd never actually used it, and she used it in a class and was like, oh, I think I need this. And I think that's been the response that we've all had with this particular embossing folder. It's one of those that you look in the catalogue and you think, well, I can't even see what that's doing, let alone why I would need it. And then you use it and you think, actually, I really like that effect and I need it too. So I think we're going to emboss our card base. Now I just want my front to be embossed really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my card base in. I'm going to allow it to overlap over the scored line just slightly. But it doesn't need to be a lot, because the back doesn't need to be embossed. In actual fact, that will probably give the card a bit more stability if the back isn't embossed as well. So we're just going to run the card base through our embossing folder. And I don't even know whether you're going to be able to, whether I can catch the light enough so that you can see the difference there. So it does give it just like the effect, like a linen effect look on it. I don't know whether you can see the difference between this is the bit that isn't embossed and this is the bit that is. So it is a very subtle effect, but it is a very lovely effect. So I thought, why stop there? Let's not just stop with embossing our card base. Let's emboss our paper as well. And in fact, what I might do is turn the paper around the other way. So I'm going to put both of those strips of paper in there. Now I actually have one of the original Subtles embossing folders. If you have one of the new ones, I'm not even sure whether I'm sure the new one is available in this one. I will need to double check that. Feels just beautiful. And the really nice thing about that is that actually it now feels like that is painted and looks like that is painted on canvas, because you've got that linen effect on it. And the same with this, it's just giving it it is really subtle, but particularly when you feel it, makes a real difference. But yes, so sandwiches are slightly different on your machines if you've got the new style of 3D embossing folders as opposed to the old ones. But that's an old style embossing folder. So we are going to, in a minute, stick that together. So we've got our embossed card base and our embossed paper, and that strip of paper is embossed as well. And it really does, in real life, look like that is canvas, been painted on canvas. I'm liking that. I'm very pleased I decided to emboss it all. Right, we're going to do some more embossing of a different kind now. We're going to do some heat embossing. Now, I think that the sample in the catalogue is using the petal pink vellum. That's all the petal pink vellum that I have got left. So I think what we are going to do is we're going to do one in petal pink and one in the So Saffron, and we'll build those up. We'll have a multi-tonal, multicoloured flower. So here's our little flower on our block. Let's ink that up with Versamark. Now what I am going to do before I stamp that is I'm going to get my embossing buddy and rub that over that vellum, because of course vellum is very static anyway. And stamp that. And then because it is so hot here, I'm not going to wait before I waft my powder on. I think I need to stock up on the white embossing powder in my box as well. So let's put that powder on, give it a flick. There, so there we have our first flower. I'll lay that carefully to one side. I will get when I do the heat gun, I'll do that in one foul swoop, but let's just get the image stamped and the powder on first. So our embossing buddy in that corner, stamp our flower, add our powder. Okay, put the lid on that, particularly as we have got our fan going, although it's not a hugely powerful fan. I've just put my little one on just to give me a bit of a burst of air without being too, hopefully, noisy. Just what we need, heat gun. But needs must, we're prepared to suffer for our art. Now, embossing powder on vellum is going to turn very quickly, and that's because the paper heats up very quickly. But there are, I don't know whether you saw that, it's almost like magic, it almost spread out in a burst. So there's our two flowers, and now we just need our flower punch. Carol, hi from Greece. I hope you're having a lovely time. I'm sure you are. Right, let's line that flower up in that punch and pop that one. And it's really lovely, this vellum, the sort of the soft colour in the background and the really vibrant white embossing powder on the top. Really beautiful. So I think we're going to have ours so that the yellow is underneath and the pink is on the top. Look at that, isn't that pretty? Okay. I'm actually tempted to just punch just a plain one from each. Could have got the two flowers out of that piece, but and then we'll just have some All of that vellum peeping out. I am underneath. Yes, that's looking pretty, and obviously I'm going to stick that properly in a minute. So that's our flower done. We are going to use the leaf punch. I'm not actually going to stamp the leaves. I could do, but I'm not going to on this occasion. I'm just going to punch out a couple of these leaves to go behind. Don't know how many we want. Let's go with 3. It may be that I go with 1. It may be that I want more, but we'll punch 3 out for now. So we'll have 3 of those little leaves, and then we just want to stamp our sentiment. So here is our little strip of white card ready to do that, and we're going to do the one that says, with friendly thoughts and best wishes today and every day. Oh, love from Thea, love back to Thea, love right back at you, Thea. Nanny hopes to see you a bit later. There we go. Let's put that on there. I was supposed to have tidied up my craft room the other day, and I did start. The trouble is you get a bit sort of, don't you, sort of think, oh, forgotten I've got that, and oh, I need to sort through that pile of paper, and so it didn't get very tidy really. Tidier, but not really tidy. So I've just got an oddment of white card just here, and we'll just stamp that with friendly thoughts and best wishes today and every day. That's not ever so straight. But I'm going to chop it off a bit that way. And if it wasn't straight before, it certainly isn't now. That's a little bit better. Let's do a banner end on that. So I'm just going to tuck the end into my triple banner punch and pop that off. Always useful. And I'm going to have to do my card the other way round to the card in the catalogue, just because I've just chopped the wrong end off my banner. Not the wrong end, nothing wrong, it's just different. I've chopped the different end off of my banner. Right, so let's start building up our card. So first of all, we will put our beautiful linen effect lily paper onto our beautiful subtly linen effect card base. And then we'll add in our embossed strip. I think we'll build our flower. Now I'm going to use a few glue dots, I think, for this job. Let's start with our petal pink embossed layer that we're having on the top, and we will wiggle that till we're happy with it on that So Saffron layer, and then put another glue dot on the back of there and take another petal pink layer, have that peeping out there, and then we'll just take our plain So Saffron layer and have that peeping out there. Let's give that a bit of a wiggle. Then I think we'll add in some of these leaves underneath here. Then we want some of our ribbon. Now, with a swirl of a ribbon on the back there, let's put in a couple of blue dots to hopefully hold that in place. Oh, no, that's still stuck to my finger and not to the ribbon. I might put another one. Let's find my pokey tool end. That would be a better solution. That's it. Let's put another one under there just to hold that in place on the back there. Okay, so we have our ribbon, our flower. Here's our little greeting that's coming in there. So let us stick this to our card front, and I think again we'll do that with glue dots. This time I'll pick some up direct from the roll, and we'll put a smattering of those on the back there. And then I think we'll put some dimensionals on the back of our greeting coming across here. Take the backs off of those. And we'll tuck that in down there. Now we need a little flower centre. So let's take one of these little flower centres, and they've got some double-sided tape on the back, so just need to peel that off and stick that in there. It's amazing the difference that putting that flower centre is, how that makes that flower suddenly pop out. And the other thing we're going to add on is a few of these little sequins, and these are the woven thread sequins, so that in here we know we've got some that are going to be that sort of pretty peacock sort of colour. So let's just pick a couple of those darker blue ones out from there. There's one. This is obviously where you'll take a pick tool. Really didn't say that. It's hard to say with when you haven't got your teeth in. That's when the take up a pick tool comes into its own. Now then, there's a very good chance this glue may be quite runny because it is warm. Yes. So you only ever want a tiny little bit of Tombow at the best of times, because it is an exceptionally good glue. So let's pop that on there, and that on there, and that one, let's turn you round and stick you on there. You're going to be a bit spludgy because that was a slightly too big a bit of glue. But there we are. There is our very pretty flower and paper and twinkly sequins. That fun little furry middle on those flowers is gorgeous, gorgeous petal pink ribbon. So here's the card that was in the catalogue. Let's dig that out, and you'll see that mine, apart from the fact that my flower is the other side, because I did my banner the wrong way round, you can see that the colours look very different. But I think still very beautiful. And it really is, when you can see it close up and see that linen effect on those papers and that card. That subtle embossing folder is really one you want to add in to your wish list, because I think you will find that once you've got it, you will want to use it a lot. You'll want to make everything linen-y and subtle. So thank you for joining me on this beautiful, warm, hot, sunny bank holiday Monday morning. We will be back as usual on Thursday evening at 6 o'clock here UK time, and we'll be doing a bit more playing around with this gorgeous suite. So do come back and play then. We would love to see you. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Karen. Thank you all for joining us. It's been lovely to have you here. Enjoy your evening for you ladies in Australia. Enjoy the rest of your day for any of you that are here in the UK or elsewhere.